Instead of just propagating plants in a random jar, today we are going to turn it into a beautiful window art or wall art. Thank you very much. This came from a subscriber that requested this. So if you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button and let's dive in. The materials you're going to need today are 2 strands of 40 inches or about 100 centimeters of 10 gauge copper wire, 16 gauge copper wire, some glass bottles, some marbles or some sort of beads that are okay in water, and some crystals. These are semi-polished crystals. Oops. I have a link on my website if you want to purchase them and support my channel. And then for tools, I like to use a cylinder that's a little bigger than the bottle so that we don't smash the bottle, to wrap the 10 gauge copper wire around. This is a ring mandrel, but you could use any sort of cylinders that's similar size. And then of course we need bolt cutters or heavy duty wire cutters, flat pliers and needle nose pliers. And then for the top spirals, you'll need a steel block and a hammer. Let's get started.
Let's start at the very bottom of our project. The first thing we're going to make are these small open spirals. These are much more than just a decorative detail. They're actually the foundation of the entire plant holder. They're what supports the glass tubes and prevents them from slipping through the frame. Take your time with these first spirals. They don't have to be perfectly identical, but the closer they are, the more balanced your finished project will look. Once those are finished, grab your cylinder or ring mandrel and begin wrapping your 10 gauge copper wire around it. A little tip that makes a big difference is to count how many wraps you make around the cylinder. If you wrap this first piece 5 times, make a mental note so you can repeat the exact same number on the second side. It saves a lot of adjusting later. Now, you'll notice that the cylinder I'm using is actually a little smaller than my glass tube. That's perfectly fine. After removing the wire, simply loosen the coils slightly until your glass tube slides in comfortably. Don't rush this step. Keep testing the holder around your glass tube until you're happy with the fit. You want it snug enough to hold the tube securely, but not so tight that it's difficult to remove. Once you're satisfied with the first side, set it aside and let's build the second one. The goal here is to make both sides as similar as possible. Notice I said similar, not identical. Handmade crafts have character, and tiny differences usually disappear once everything is assembled. If one side looks slightly different, don't panic. This is one of those projects where you'll spend a little time adjusting, and then adjusting again, and probably adjusting one more time. That's completely normal. Copper wire is very forgiving, and one of the things I love about it is that you can continue making small tweaks until everything looks just right. Now test both of your glass tubes in both holders. If one holder feels tighter than the other, now is the perfect time to make those little corrections before we move on. Once both sides are holding the tubes nicely, we're ready to work on the top of the plant holder. To keep everything from shifting around while we wrap the frame together, here's one of my favorite beginner tips. Take a small piece of clear tape and wrap it around the wires to temporarily hold everything in position. This little trick saves a lot of frustration because your wires won't slide apart while you're trying to wrap them. Now grab your 16 gauge wire and begin making a tight, neat wrap around both wires. As you wrap, the copper will completely hide the tape underneath, so once you're finished, no one will ever know it's there. Keep your wraps close together for a clean, professional look. With the frame secured, it's time for my favorite part, the spirals. Trim one of the top wires slightly shorter than the other. This allows one spiral to sit a little higher than the other, creating a layered look instead of having both spirals competing for the same space. Start rolling each spiral slowly. As they grow, don't be afraid to stop and adjust their position. Sometimes rotating a spiral just a few millimeters completely changes the look of the design. The next step is completely optional, but it's hammer time. A few gentle taps with a hammer will work harden the copper, making your plant holder stronger and helping it keep its shape. It also gives the wire a beautiful handcrafted texture that catches the light. Keep comparing both sides as you go until you're happy with the overall balance. Now test your glass tubes one more time. This is your final chance to make any small adjustments before we decorate. Everything should feel balanced, secure, and comfortable. Once you're happy with the frame, it's time for the finishing touches. This is where you can really personalize your project. Gather your favorite beads, shells, crystals, sea glass, charms, driftwood, or anything else you'd like to dangle from the bottom. There really isn't a wrong choice here. Use whatever matches your own decorating style. For this one, I'm using these cute little wooden flowers that I found at the craft store, along with a few crystal points for a little sparkle. If you're looking for the same crystals I'm using, I've added a link on my website in the materials list. Before we attach everything, we'll need 4 small S-hooks. These little connectors allow all of the dangling pieces to move freely while making it easy to change or rearrange decorations later if you want a different look. Take your wire and make 4 matching S-hooks, keeping them roughly the same size. Now let's wrap the crystals. Using 16-gauge wire, begin by making a small spiral at the bottom of the crystal. That little spiral acts like a shelf, preventing the crystal from sliding down through the wire. Once the spiral is in place, gently wrap the wire up around the crystal. Keep the wrap snug enough to hold it securely, but don't squeeze so tightly that you hide the natural beauty of the stone. When you reach the top, finish by making a small loop. That loop gives us an easy place to attach our S-hook. Wrap your second crystal the same way. Choosing 2 crystals of a similar size and weight will help your finished plant holder look balanced and hang nicely. Don't worry if they aren't identical. Natural variations give your handmade piece its own unique character. Now simply connect your crystals, flowers, or other decorations to the bottom spirals using the S-hooks. Take a final look at your plant holder and make any last adjustments. Straighten your spirals, tweak your loops if needed, and make sure both glass tubes are sitting evenly. Before you fill your glass tubes with water, I like to add a few decorative touches to the bottom. Drop in some marbles, colorful beads, crystals, or even small pieces of tumbled glass.
I love how this craft turned out. I can't wait to hang it in my window. I actually especially like the marbles in the bottom because they add a little bit of color to the water. So this was such a fun project. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one.